Thom Hartmann here on the best of the rest of labor and economic news. You need to know this. Big business should declare victory. According to data from the International Trade Union Confederation, it appears that corporations have almost completely destroyed workers' rights in the United States. A 97-point evaluation of labor-related criteria found that our nation ranks as poorly as Pakistan, Indonesia, and Thailand when it comes to workers' rights. The criteria for the study range from the right to strike or protest to collective bargaining rights to basic civil liberties. The only places that were ranked worse for workers were countries experiencing open violent conflict. In the last century, people in our nation fought and even died for labor laws and rights that made us proud to live and work in the United States. However, over the last 3 decades, the billionaires and the big corporations have destroyed those rights and waged a war on the very unions that gave us a robust middle class. In the last 3 years alone, more than a dozen states have put limits on collective bargaining for public employees, and another 19 states have pushed for right to work for less laws to destroy private unions. The rich and powerful had declared an all-out war on working people, and it has left us with more in common with third world nations than the developed world. From the fight for 15 to the fast food strikes, American workers are beginning to stand up and fight back. We have a long way to go to restore the labor rights we've lost since the Reagan administration, but we can do it. So let's get busy. The Republicans said that Obamacare would make some doctors quit, and it turns out that, in a way, they were right. In the states that have expanded Medicaid, the formerly uninsured now have coverage. So free clinics are closing up shop. Doctors, nurses, and staff who worked and volunteered in many cases at those facilities are actually happy that they're no longer needed, and they're finding jobs that actually pay at other offices and clinics, which are treating all those patients who are now able to pay for care. In addition, the fact that these patients now have coverage means that emergency rooms and doctors who were treating the uninsured are finally getting paid for their services. Harborview Medical Center in Seattle said they expect a $20 million boost in revenue thanks to the new coverage. Similar results are popping up in Colorado, Arkansas, and other states. The only medical jobs we're losing over Obamacare are the ones we shouldn't have needed to have in the first place, because doctors shouldn't have had to volunteer their time to ensure that everyone had care. In states that have expanded Medicare, doctors and hospitals are actually getting more revenue, which means that they'll be able to keep more staff and hire more people. Yet another reason why red state lawmakers should expand Medicaid now. By leaving homeless people on the street, we're paying at least 3 times as much as we would to simply house them. A recent study from the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness found that taxpayers shell out $31,000 a year for every person living on the street. However, it would only cost about $10,000 a year to give them a place to live and services like health care and job training. Studies in North Carolina, Colorado, and other states have found similar results. Rather than ignoring homeless people or throwing them in jail, we could save a ton of money by giving them a home and a future. Florida alone could save $350 million over the next decade by providing housing for the homeless. And that number doesn't even count the benefits of having more working people contribute to our society. We need to stop treating people like criminals because they find themselves on the street, and remember that social services are a hand up, not a handout. Only one large retailer got top marks for their employees for excellent pay and benefits: Costco. Recent survey conducted by the online career community Glassdoor found that Costco beat out all other retailers and even most of the big high-tech companies on the issue of employee compensation. In fact, that retailer is number 2 on the list of the top 25 companies, and they actually have the same positive rating as the number 1 company, Google. Starting pay for workers at Costco is $11.50 an hour. The average pay is about $22 an hour. On top of paying well, Costco offers great benefits, and nearly 90% of their employees are enrolled in a company-sponsored health plan. In exchange for health care and a decent wage, Costco employees are more loyal and more productive. Costco is proving that it's possible to make a profit and treat your employees well, and many customers are happier shopping in stores that support business practices that they support. And finally, the low-wage workers of Seattle will see a huge bump in their paychecks. Last week, the City Council Committee approved a proposal to raise that city's minimum wage to $15 an hour. And this week, it was accepted by the full City Council. However, the Group 15 now is still fighting for workers in that city. The approved increase won't take effect until April of 2015, and it phases in the pay hike over the course of several years. For the activists and labor groups who've been pushing the increase, the current offer isn't enough to help workers now. Members of the group 15 Now are still collecting signatures to put their measure before voters, which would include an immediate wage increase for large businesses and a slower phase-in for companies with fewer than 250 full-time employees. The group already has more than 10,000 signatures, and they only need 30,000 to put their measure on the ballot. Either way, everyone in Seattle will soon be paid a living wage, and that's great news for workers and for Seattle's economy. And that's the way it is for the week of June 2nd, 2014. I'm Thom Hartmann on the Labor and Economic News.